the Emo Hour. Your weekly power hour of all things emo and adjacent. With your hosts, Katie and Nani.
Hello and welcome to the Emo Hour. I'm your host, Nani, with my good friend Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hi, it's a slushy, snowy mess out here in Sun Valley. What about where you are?
Oh my God, I feel like we're weather reporters right now. It is a literal downpour here in San Francisco, and I'm looking outside. It's windy. It has to be accumulating like feet of rain at this point. So
Wow.
it's kind of been crazy here the last few days. So
Same
yeah,
here
and
in
I
a
know
different way.
I was gonna say, yeah, back home it's also pretty wild, right?
We got lots of snow, and then it warmed up last night and this morning, but it is snowing right now. But it's definitely warm, so that's why I said slushy mess. Lots of powder days.
Oh yeah, I saw so many Instagram posts of people who are just living their best life in the trees.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time of year for some snow, but then it's supposed to get super, super cold. And you are not going to be in the cold because you're in San Francisco, headed to where?
Mexico.
Vamos a la Mexico.
Yeah, vamos a la
But I'm not.
Mexico, a la
I'm not
playa.
going.
I
Yeah,
know,
you're
I'm
going.
sad. I'm sad, yeah, but I'm going with a friend, and it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. So we'll have
Good.
updates for you. We'll definitely have updates for you.
Yeah, I can't wait to keep the listeners in the loop of your travels.
Right? Well, might as well get us right into it. What's making you emo this week, KT?
What's making me emo this week is the band Brand New. Jesse Lacey really did a private show in LA on the 31st of January, and you know some people that were in the room for it. I don't know anyone that was there, but I've seen lots of videos, and he did like a solo acoustic set, and he played a lot of older Brand New stuff, and apparently he played some new stuff too. And according to people who were there, he basically told the audience, like, feel free to record the older Brand New stuff that everybody knows. Older Brand New stuff, that sounds weird to say like that, but Brand
Like
New
original or like already heard.
Yeah. But any of the newer songs, he asked that people not record. So, we talked, I don't know, a while ago on our show about the possibility that Brand New is coming back because there was a fundraiser show that they were at. And my take was that they're not coming back. It was just kind of a one-off fundraiser for his wife's foundation. But I am changing my tune on this. And I think something's happening this year.
Something's a brewing.
New album, new tour, and tour, I don't know, but definitely new music, I think. So Brand New means a lot to me, one of my favorite bands back in the day, and still they were on my Spotify Wrapped for 2024 in my top 5. So that says something. And I think we're going to be hearing some cool stuff. So I'm excited. And
That's
again,
awesome.
There's always like a caveat when you're talking about Brand New and Jesse Lacey because he basically admitted to doing some really awful things. But they are just one of my favorite bands, and I think there's more to it than that. But that's a conversation we don't need to get into. That's just always what the caveat is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's awesome. I think also we can post the YouTube videos that my friend took on our socials. So if anybody is interested in watching, because I had sent you, though I had a few friends that were there, and all I was thinking is, oh my God, Katie needs to be there. She needs to be seeing this.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. I mean, I've watched many videos from that already, and the ones that your friend took were great because it's some of the other ones that I saw on TikTok and stuff where you could hear the person that was taking the video, they were singing along, and that's not what you want to hear. And the ones that your friend did were just great, like nothing in the way, no other voices, just Jesse Lacey. And it was
his guitar.
really, really nostalgic. And Played some just like, you know, songs that just hit you right where the nostalgia is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But so Nani, what's making you emo this week?
Oh my God. Ah, can you hear the smile in my face?
I can.
Well, aside from the fact that I can't squint my eyes together because my Botox is so strong. Look at that. It's
Oh,
I know.
you got that before you left, right?
I know. It just keeps getting stronger, so I can't really
Oh,
be super emotive right now. But what's making me emo is my New Year's intentions because I am doing my best. And you know
okay.
this
Yeah.
because I texted you. But I was in Boise and I happened to Google what's going on in Boise this night tonight. What I found out is that they were having a speed dating event, which I was like, "Oh my God, wait. Do I do this? Do I not do this?" It's just like
And
too ridiculous
yes.
not to do. And obviously I texted you and you were, yeah, both you and LB were like, you have to go. Like you don't have an option.
Duh.
I know, right? So I went and had so much fun. And there was probably, I don't know, about 50-ish people there. And then in addition to that, there was more people at the bar that we went to, but ended up making really great new friends.
Good.
Abigail and Annika were like my two
Okay.
besties there, and we had so
Yeah.
much fun. And and so I got to give them a shout out because they were just the best. But we did 7 rounds of speed dating, and we met 2 people each time. So I met about like 15 guys, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody was super nice.
Any sparks flying?
I'm going to go ahead and say that I didn't have any sparks, but there was some
None.
really,
Not
yeah,
even a
not,
little flutter.
no. So, yeah, no, not really. Really, like, really interesting people, but I feel like I should give a quick shout out because I met so many people there and I told them we had a
Sure.
podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say so Gage and Talbot are who I met first. And then I met Alan and Gregory. Oh, Gregory was my bestie. Gregory I loved. He had this long flowing, just beautiful hair that like it just makes you want to take off of a person's head. It's so beautiful. And like I wish I could just that sounds so weird, but like
It does.
literally
That's okay.
just the most amazing hair. And so, yeah, Alan and Gregory, and then I met Victor and Ander, and
Okay.
then Tonio and Matt. Tonio was so funny because he kept saying it's like Antonio, but without the A, so it's Tonio. And then
Okay.
Aaron and Hudson, and then Caden, and it looks like I forgot to take a note on that one, and then Theodore and Luke, and I did,
Wow.
yeah, and I did
How
all of
many
this
minutes was each date?
about like 5-ish minutes, like longer than
Okay.
it should have been. Longer than it should have
Okay.
been, in my opinion.
I was gonna guess
And
3. So yeah.
yeah, like when I think speed dating, it's like 1 minute, 2 minute, like boom, get this thing done. And also maybe like flashcards or something to get to know the person. Or like what I've done in the past is like a sticky note that you have a question on that you ask the person in front of you and then you swap sticky notes. So you
Oh
like
yeah.
there's different ways to like icebreakers and
Right.
whatnot to get to know a person. This was cool. They did a decent job. It was the first time they'd ever done it, so they've got some kinks to work through. But they did have icebreakers, but they asked it out loud, and we just kind of had these like group discussions individually. So everybody was
Okay.
asked the same question at the same time.
Right.
But what was so wild is, I meet all these people and I had so much fun. I go up to the bar afterwards to go get a nightcap before I go back to the hotel, and I end up meeting. We'll just call him Captain Cowboy, and
Captain Cowboy.
yeah,
All
Captain
right.
Cowboy, and by far, like the best conversation that I had out of that and the bartender
Ooh.
Daryl. Daryl Daryl is awesome, and you'd love him too. I talked to him about us coming to the Amberlin and Copeland show. He works for Treefort.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so you'll probably end up meeting him when we go back to Boise for that show. But he's super nice guy. But yeah, Daryl, shout out to Daryl at the Hap Hap Lounge. He was so much fun. But I jokingly told both Daryl and Captain Cowboy that like the conversation that I was having with them was better than the conversations that I had had with all the people that I'd speed dated with. And maybe that's
So
because
Captain Cowboy wasn't a speed dater.
no, he was just
Okay.
a
Just a
regular
guy that was
dude,
there.
just a guy at the bar. And it
Is there a reason
was,
you're not saying his real name and doing a pseudonym instead?
oh yeah, I probably should share that. So he is in the U.S. Air Force. And they were traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast, and he flies F-18s, and he's going to be flying F-35s really soon. But it was such an interesting conversation because I was able to ask him a bunch of questions about planes and specifically like one of those F-35s just crashed up in Anchorage. And, you know, obviously we had that terrible, terrible tragedy in DC. And so I kind of asked him some questions about that and just about flying in general because, you know, I want to get my pilot's license at some point and I just love flying. But yeah, he's super interesting guy, and he'd been in the service for like 20 years, and he started super young, like super, super young. No, I want to say he's at 13 years. He's going to make it to 20 years. So he's not all that old. He's younger than me, but ended up having a great end of the night because I met, we'll call him Captain Cowboy.
Captain Cowboy, CC. All
CC.
right. But no sparks flew with him either?
I mean, he is the definition of like a good-looking man. Like his body was so thick and like completely tatted. So yes, he
Okay.
was conventionally good, like conventionally good-looking and very thoughtful and cute and kind. But like, no, not really.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what's making me emo is that I am trying.
You're getting yourself out there, and that is maybe the biggest step of it all, right? So
Totally.
and the hardest step, especially for a lot of people. I don't think that maybe that step is as hard for you and your personality type per se, but getting yourself out there is a challenge for anyone, just on different levels. So good
Yeah.
for you. I'm happy that you went
you.
and had a good experience. And, you know, it's always, if nothing else, you made some new fun connections, right?
Totally. Yeah. And a bunch of us are following each other on Instagram and whatnot. And we've got some new followers here, I think. And, you know, I'll say just for everybody who went, like, that's definitely the case. Like, everybody was putting themselves out there. And I just love that. So, yeah, shout out to everybody who attended because it's not easy putting yourself out there.
It's definitely not.
Oh, and shout out to Brickyard Pizza in Star, Idaho. One of the guys owns a pizza joint in Star, Idaho called Brickyard.
Okay. Well,
Isn't that funny?
Star's growing. So Star's a cute little place, but it's growing for sure.
I don't even know exactly where it is, but that's okay.
It's like outside of Eagle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I know exactly where it is now that you say that.
Perfect.
Well, should we get into our topic of the day?
Did you want to do a Grammy recap today? Just a
Oh,
quick
yeah.
one, since it was just the Grammys on
Yes.
Sunday or Monday. Yeah.
Sunday.
My life has been a blur, so I can't even keep my days straight.
Well, and you have snow days, all sorts of crazy stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I just think we should maybe chat about it for a minute before we get into the topic of the day. You watched, I think, the whole thing. I only watched like bits and pieces, but I did see the Chapel Roan Pink Pony Club performance, and I thought it was great. I mean, it's blown up. Like people loved it, and I enjoyed it. And then I also saw, you know, some of the headlines like Kanye West and his wife and the naked outfit. That was
He
weird.
wasn't even invited.
You know, I've heard mixed things on that.
Yeah, they kicked him out though. And I mean, what she did
Yeah.
was technically illegal, right?
Yeah, indecent exposure. But I've heard mixed things on whether he was invited because I think he was like a collaborator on one of the songs that was nominated. So I think he probably was invited.
So interesting. Well, I have a couple notes on it because I'm such a music geek that I take notes on things.
Yeah.
But so the opening of the show, for those who haven't watched it, you should go back and watch it because I thought it was a really good show, start to finish. I don't know about you, but I thought it was like excellent. The opening, they did this tribute to LA, and they specifically included two of the guys from Dawes, the band Dawes, because they had lost their homes and their recording studio and all sorts of stuff, and so they were kind of at the center of everything. And then they had a bunch of other people around them, like Sheryl Crow and Brad Paisley, and just like all sorts of different other musicians around them, which I thought the only thing that lost me is that I didn't realize it was a cover of another song for a second, and then I finally caught on. I wish they would have introed it just slightly differently, but that's me being nitpicky.
Okay, sure.
And then Billie Eilish and Phineas, I kind of loved their performance.
I saw that, and I also, maybe you knew this, but like they were playing in front of a screen that was like their neighborhood in LA. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize that in the moment, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I loved it because they like took the outdoors indoors,
Yeah.
which was cool. All the local ads, right? Like they immediately started highlighting that. And we had talked about a couple of them because you and I were texting during the show. But
Yeah. Yeah, let's just clear. So they took the opportunity to highlight small businesses in LA that had lost their businesses to the fires. And so those were the commercials. There was still many huge company commercials thrown in as well, but they highlighted some small businesses and had like Grammy winning or Grammy nominated artists like join those business owners for the ads, which was cool. I really liked that a lot. Like I remember specifically Doja Cat was on an ad for a flower shop. Charlie Puth was on an ad for like a karate studio.
the martial arts studio with the old lady that like took him to the mat. It was so good.
Yeah, it was. And then Avril Lavigne for like a little like skate shop.
Yeah, called Pally Skates with and
which
it
is
was
great.
they were epic. I had the same three. I only noticed those three, so hopefully there weren't more, but those
Okay.
were the three that I had written down.
Okay. Yeah, those are the three I saw. I'm not sure if there were more, but I didn't catch all of it because I had bath time and bedtime with my daughter in the middle of it. So,
You know what? Bath time with daughter, much more important. A couple of my other highlights were Benson Boone. So I love the way that they did Best New Artist, the way that they highlighted all the people that were nominated for Best New Artist, because for the people who didn't get a full performance, like the Chapel Roans or the Sabrina Carpenters, they did this like kind of round robin of performers, and Benson Boone started his seated in the audience, and I knew that something was about to happen because you could see his in-ears.
yeah.
And he looked normal, but his in-ears were on, and I was like, yeah, something's about to happen. And so he gets up from the table, and then he's in front of Nikki Glazer and Heidi Klum, and they rip his clothes off, and he's wearing this light blue, like powder blue onesie,
Sparkle.
like sparkle. And he runs up on stage onto the piano, does his backflip like he normally does, and then gets into his performance. And I loved that. I thought it was so
Yeah.
good.
That was great.
It was so good. And then, yes, I agree. Chapel Roan was fabulous. Like, she was awesome. It was like My Little Pony vibes.
Yes.
But I
And
wouldn't say
Sabrina's
that was
performance was great.
Oh yeah, Sabrina. I did love Sabrina's performance, and I love that both of them won. It felt like a really female-heavy night, which was super cool.
It was. Yeah.
But the
Doechii
best,
had a great
yeah,
performance.
I was gonna say by far the person who stole all of the performances, in my opinion, was Doechii.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that's where you were going to go with that.
Yes, it literally her performance was undeniably like from my perspective, in my opinion, it was, oh my God, just like chaotic, sexy, like so on point. It was so good. I need to go back and watch it again because
Yeah.
Krista walked out into the living room. I was like totally zoned in on the TV, and she's like, "Why is your mouth open?" I literally was so locked in on the TV when it was happening, and I just was like, "Wait, what?"
You were
So
literally in awe.
Doechii,
Well, then she She had a great acceptance speech for Best Rap Album, I think is what it was, the award that she got. And she's like the third female to ever get it, even though it was introduced in 1989.
That's my favorite. She's like, only 2 women have won it. She's like, wait, 3.
Yeah. So that was great. She got people on their feet with her acceptance speech. I don't think I've really heard of Doechii before that night. So shows you what kind of world I'm in.
Well,
but
no,
I was very impressed with her.
And that's what I loved about her is that she actually started off her speech with like, there's a lot of people who probably don't know who I am.
Yeah, I didn't. I also don't really listen to rap, or even like popular music all that much. So
yeah,
that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's fair. Other performances to call out, I would say that the closing performance, which was Charlie XCX, was so epic. Like she's
a good performer.
Oh my God. Like you could just feel her energy through the TV, and I totally fell for it. I also want to give a shout out to Teddy Swims because in a situation where everybody's trying to one up another person's performance, where it's like more backup dancers, more pyro, more this, more that, he pared it down, and he was standing on a little pedestal in the middle of the audience. He had his instruments around him, like players around him, and he just belted. And we all know that Teddy Swims is an elder emo, like no question. He said that his favorite 2 bands are Acceptance and Circa Survive, which
interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, which I freak out about because I'm like, wait, I work with Circa, but oh my God, his voice too is just so amazing. I really wish that he would have been recognized on telecast a little bit more, but I thought that the way he approached it for his music and his style was perfect for who he is, because so many other people are like I said, it's more backup dancers, more this, more that. So he went the opposite direction of paring it down.
Right.
So, but all in all, I'd say Grammys, it was an excellent telecast. This felt like the best version of the Grammys I've seen in a minute.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, and shout out to Trevor Noah hosting. I think he did a great job. Also, just have to comment on Taylor Swift and her, just being the biggest hype girl for the other performers, especially Sabrina. She's like the only one standing in the audience dancing, which I'm sure is annoying to a bunch of people out there, but it's like she's there to have a good time.
I love that. If I was
support.
if I was in that room, I am going to stand also. Like I'm not going to be too cool. And that's what I love about her is that she stands, she supports, and I don't get why everybody else doesn't. It's weird.
It is weird. Yeah.
Maybe because they don't want to block the people behind them, but like everybody should be standing. Like you can sit down during the commercial break, but that's when they go talk to each other. So
and the awards, like that's when you sit and you stand during the performances. Like these are amazing performances. Like it's an award show. They're meant to be amazing performances.
I'm with you.
And she was wearing the thigh jewelry with a T, and that's like a shout out to one of her songs. It's like your initials tattooed on my upper thigh or whatever. I should probably have known that better before I said that, but I was just like, oh my gosh, that's gonna make people go crazy.
I love her dress. I thought it was amazing.
She looked great.
I didn't see the chain yet. I'm Googling it right now because I want to see it.
Oh really? You didn't see it?
No, because I didn't watch the pre-show. I only watched the
or even saw like the images like on the red carpet.
No, because I didn't really look. Like I didn't look at the red carpet stuff all that much. Oh my God, risque Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's in red. And of course she's wearing red because Chiefs. Duh.
She also has an album called
Red. Yeah. Red.
Also just have to mention, Beyonce got Best Country Album, and Best Album, right?
Yep.
Which I know people are fired up about the Best Country Album thing. I don't care. I don't have an opinion. I haven't even listened to Cowboy Carter, except for like the one song that Texas Hold'em is what it's called. But what I would say is I think her and Jay-Z were genuinely shocked to win.
And I thought it was awesome. I'm really happy she won personally. She was shafted from all of the country. She made a country record, whether like from styling to sound to all the decisions, that was a country record, and she totally got shafted from all the other country award shows. So I think that this was the music industry's way of saying, hey, yeah, we're going to acknowledge the fact that she made a country record.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome. And then I'm so happy that she won for, I can't remember if it was album or artist of the year, the big award.
Was album. I'm pretty sure it was album.
Because it was a huge record. I too didn't listen to it like a lot of other people did. I've listened to most of it, but it wasn't on repeat for me just because I tend to listen to other genres of music. But I think very much well deserved. And I loved her reaction when she won country record of the year. That was awesome.
That was, just the genuine shock of it. I appreciated that. Like she fully did not.
I feel like it's got to, like, it's already become a meme and like a GIF of its own, but like it's only going to get bigger.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I think all that to say, the Grammys were excellent, and a lot of people who won were well deserved. But let's get into our topic of the day, which is I've been wanting to ask you about. Rolling Stone recently put out this list of the 250 greatest albums of the 21st century so far. And there's quite a few emo or emo-adjacent artists on this list. And I wanted to call out those people and then also kind of get your take on it. Do you want me to give you the number 1 and the number 250 just so you kind of have a baseline?
Sure. And let's just, this article came out January 10th, 2025. Also like bold title, I would say, 250 greatest albums of the 21st century so far. And it's only 2025. So
I know.
Bold move.
And I think that sometimes they do this to just get clickbait or whatever, but, or just to get clicks onto the site. But there were quite a few emo and emo-adjacent records on here, so that made me happy. But I will say, number 250 was NSYNC's No Strings Attached.
Love it. I mean, that's a great album.
For you and me both, yes. And then number 1 was Beyonce's Lemonade. So
more Beyonce. So I can appreciate Beyonce as an artist, but she's just not my preference. Because I didn't listen to Lemonade either. Like, I don't know. And that's number 1.
You and I have that in common. Destiny's Child, I listen to so much, but Beyonce, I've never chosen to listen to her records all that much. Obviously, the singles we all know and love and dance to, but like actual records and listening to full records, no.
Yeah, same.
Same.
Me neither.
Same way. Okay, so coming in at number 243 is Pierce the Veil.
Ooh.
And their record Collide with the Sky, which I think it's awesome that they made the list.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
There's going to be some surprises in here. For me, Pierce the Veil was a surprise just because I feel like more recently they've just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know.
And Pierce the Veil is not a band that I have listened to a ton, but they did tour with Blink-182 last year. But yeah, that album came out in 2012. I'm not familiar with it. I might know a song or two, but it's not an album that I'm terribly familiar with.
Yeah. And then 236 is Turnstile and their record Glow On, which I don't really listen to Turnstile.
No, but we saw them open for Blink-182 again. Always got to bring it back to Blink-182.
Oh, that's so funny. I completely forgot about that. You're right. We have seen them. Coming in at number 225 is our queen, Avril Lavigne, and her record Let Go.
I mean, come on. Came out in 2002. That was like my emo awakening, I guess. Like that was my gateway drug to emo.
And then this one is not necessarily like super emo, but System of a Down came in at, I should do Postal Service. So 167 was Postal Service and their record Give Up, which is funny because Postal Service record is Give Up and Avril Lavigne's was Let Go. Give Up and Let Go. But the Postal Service record, it's adjacent to me, right? Because Death Cab for Cutie, all that stuff. But and then System of a Down came in at 159 with their record Toxicity. Did you ever listen to System of a Down?
Just like the more well-known stuff, but it's also more of my husband's type of music.
Yeah.
So I know a fair amount of System of a Down, but I don't know that I've ever like put on a System of a Down record and listened to it from front to back.
Right. And then coming in at 135 is Fall Out Boy from Under the Cork Tree, which so glad that made the cut.
That's a great album.
It is.
I am a Fall Out Boy fan. I'm not like a super fan by any means, but I think that I think that's my favorite album of theirs.
Yeah.
And what number was that again?
135.
135. And when did that album came out? In 2005.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just,
that tracks.
That's a killer album.
Then coming in at 113 is My Chemical Romance, or lovingly MCR with The Black Parade, which I thought that would have been a little higher.
You think so?
Yeah, it's just so epic.
I mean, it is, and it's like emo anthem for sure. That album came out in 2006. I've said this before, I enjoy My Chemical Romance, but they are not really a band that I generally turn to on my own.
Yeah.
So it's a good album though. And I think that's pretty high up there personally, 113.
Yeah, that's true. And then the Deftones came in at 107 with White Pony. Did you ever listen to the Deftones?
No. Did you?
A little bit. Circa Survive went on tour with Deftones for quite a few shows, and so I've seen them a few times, but yeah, they weren't really like in my rotation, but I do like them. But yeah, again, it's not something that like I would immediately choose to turn on. Number 68 was Green Day and the record American Idiot, which we all know.
So good. I mean, you gotta love Green Day. Green Day is just great.
So good. And and then the highest of all the records that are kind of emo adjacent, if you will, is Paramore and their record Riot. And it came. What number do you think it came in at? Like, obviously, we've been rising. So
yeah,
I'll give you a hint. It's 2 digits.
Okay, that's a great hint.
So
we've been in.
Wait, that's right. 9. Green Day. Yeah, Green Day was already in 68. So I thought we were still in the 3 digits. Sorry.
So it's between 10 and 68. What a hint.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to say 37.
Okay. They came in at number 53.
Oh, okay.
So that's the list of emo bands that were, included on this Rolling Stone list of the 250 greatest albums of the 21st century so far. I think that, who do you think's missing? Like, I feel like there's definitely some stuff missing from this. And so I wanted to ask you who you thought was missing. I feel like there's an obvious one that you might answer, but
Blink-182's One More Time.
Exactly.
Great album. You did not mention Olivia Rodrigo's Sour is on here as number 39.
Is she? Would we call her emo? She's so poppy though.
I know, but Avril Lavigne's Let Go is super poppy.
I guess that's true. I did write down one of these. Okay, so number 237 is Ashley Simpson autobiography.
What?
I know. So one, she was very much trying to be like punk rock scene back then too.
Yeah.
So I would say that actually is somewhat adjacent, but I was totally taken back that she was on this list at 237. It is a great record. Like, I mean, me wanna la la. Yeah, it's a great record. But like it truly is a great record, but I just was like, wait, huh? What?
Like, but greatest of the century?
Yeah.
I don't
So
know about
far.
that.
Yeah, so
So
far.
far.
Don't forget that little asterisk.
Huh. Um, yeah, I mean, I loved that record, especially as a teenage person. But I'm that raises some eyebrows for me as well. I mean, I love Blink-182, so of course I had to say that. I could talk about Brand New because Brand New Deja Entendu, like that is such a great album. Like that could be on there.
Yeah, I thought like for mainstream artists, like bigger mainstream artists, the fact that Blink wasn't on there was a miss.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Those are the like top ones that popped into my head. Who do you think is missing?
I literally I only wrote down Blink 182 because this would have been from 21st Century. Is that from
2000.
how? Yeah, from 2000 on. Like there were so many Blink records
Yeah,
from
all of
2000
them.
to now. Like what?
Maybe not all of them. Maybe they had a couple in the 90s actually. Maybe like
Yeah,
Cheshire Cat was in the 90s. It probably was like 98, 99.
yeah, because all the
But
boy
that's not a
bands.
great one.
Yeah, all the boy bands are on there, and it just was super surprising to me. So I thought it'd be fun to go through and just look at the kind of emo adjacent artists that were on that list and just talk about it. But yeah, that's a bold, like you said, it's a bold headline for this, and it's bold of them to make a list like this as well.
And including Ashley Simpson, but no Blink 182.
How dare?
Especially because, I mean, like the One More Time album, the most recent Blink 182 one, I think is probably like musically and like it's a cream of the crop, I guess, for Blink 182 music, you know?
Yeah.
Huh.
I
Interesting.
know. I know, right? Well, I put it out to the listeners of who do you think was missing. So please DM
Or like
us, add us.
Panic at the Disco, honestly, like
Yes.
one of their earlier albums, like they were huge for a while. And like
Yep.
that album I feel like could easily be on this list.
Yes, I so
So
agree.
that's yeah, now I'm just trying to think of what else could be on there, but yeah, that I agree that's bizarre. I mean, the Riot, like Paramore Riot, great. Great call.
I'm
Green
I'm so
Day,
glad.
American Idiot, also great.
Yes.
But there could be a lot more.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I was just looking at the top five. Should we just? I know you have the top one written down, but should we just go through the top five, just for reference?
Yeah, totally. You want to read them off?
Yeah. So number 5 is Taylor Swift's Folklore, which came out in 2020. Which that's a great album. I'm kind of surprised, I guess, that would be like her top album, but I think
I'd
it's a
say
great one.
1989 would have been her top record in my opinion, but that's me.
Yeah, that's the one that won me over personally, and it sounds like you too, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 4 is Outkast, Stankonia, that came out in
I
2000.
I agree with that. It's a great record.
Sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Number 3, Frank Ocean, Blonde, came out in 2016.
That was a great
listened to that
record.
one.
Oh, you would
Number
know some
2,
of those songs.
I'm sure I would, yeah. Number 2, Radiohead, Kid A, came out in 2000.
Yeah, you can't question that record. It's amazing.
And then you already said Beyonce's Lemonade, which came out in 2016, which I have not listened to. Like I know I've heard some stuff on it, but not really. So
Yeah, I don't. That's again. It's one. This is an impossible list to get correct, but it's a bold thing to do. Rolling Stone. It's a bold thing to do. But I was very happy to see a bunch of kind of emo artists on the list.
yeah, which is great. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Rolling Stone, Rolling Stone does a lot of those types of articles, I feel like, where it's, top rock bands, top rock albums, whatever. So it is interesting to go through those and see. But like you said, it is so subjective. and it's impossible to get right. And I mean, it's music, right? It's art. So everybody has different opinions on what's good and what's not. I mean, I think with Beyonce in particular, I don't know that she's ever won a Grammy for Album of the Year. I think
She
that
hasn't.
this
And
is
yeah,
her
that's why
first
it was
one.
such a big, yeah, that's why it was such a big deal. Is she was literally nominated like 5 million times and hadn't won. And it kind of
Yeah.
felt like everything was rigged. And oh, how did I not talk about The Weeknd coming back after his severe anger with the Grammy in the Recording Academy, because he just thought that everything was really unfair and really rigged. And
When
so
did that happen? I don't recall this.
oh yeah, The Weeknd performed in the middle of the show and it was epic. It was like his big comeback, and pretty much he had taken over the left and right stage, because they go back and forth left and right to kind of be able to
Yeah.
set up sets for different artists, but he took up the entire thing and he literally looked like Jesus. Like he was just up on the highest pedestal singing in his beautiful voice that he has. It was
Yeah.
it was wild. But yeah, that was pretty epic. Sorry, I
Well,
digress.
I meant more of like, when did he come out against the Grammys? That's what I don't.
Oh, a few years ago, because he was totally disregarded. His record was so good. It must have been like
Okay.
2020, 2021. So it's been a few years that they've been in a feud, and he's just not been recognized. And
Okay.
he's a huge artist.
Yeah,
And
I didn't know that background. So
yeah,
that makes it interesting.
yeah. So, and they actually called it out on the Grammys, which I thought was cool. They owned it. They said they had conversations, they fixed things, and now The Weeknd was back and in support. So it was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But yeah, that was you'll have to watch that performance. You're gonna like it, I think.
Yeah, I did miss the performance. But yeah, it is interesting to go through these Rolling Stones articles, and I think we should throw it out to the listeners and our Instagram followers about like, which albums do you think should have made the cut? And it is really interesting when you have bands like Turnstile on there, who are not super well known, and I haven't really listened to them much other than when we saw them open, and they crushed it. But you've got that, but then you've got like Blink-182, who
Was the
don't even
headliner
get
of
a
that
mention.
of that tour. So yeah, please DM us and add us and let us know who you think is missing from the list, and we'll probably post a link to the list on our socials as well, just so you can access it. But it's literally the 250 best albums of the 21st century so far.
So far.
So far.
And it's only the beginning
Well,
of 2025.
yeah. Katie, should we get into our emo lyric of the day?
We should. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I will. So my emo lyric of the day comes from Haunted Mouths, which we kind of talked about last week. It is with Aaron from Copeland and Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens. And I have really been loving that record. I know I sent it to you last week and you listened to it. Also, I felt like you were vibing with it, right? Didn't you like it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like I said, my life has been a blur lately, so I'm sure it's great.
A week ago feels like a month ago sometimes, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. But their song is called Further Till We Disappear. And so I decided, because I liked that record so much and we talked about it last week, I thought I would highlight that as my emo lyric of the day, because
Love
I
that.
really hope that people listen to it. It's also very emo because of what was making me emo earlier in the show, and it just dating and finding my person and all that stuff. So the lyric is, love is a trip. It's a child that we can't manage. Let the waves crash and swell. Hold them in. Try not to panic.
I
Right?
like that.
So
Yeah.
I
What's
thought
the
it was
song
pretty
called?
Further Till We Disappear.
Okay. And can you read it one more time?
Yeah, so love is a trip. It's a child that we can't manage. Let the waves crash and swell. Hold them in. Try not to panic.
That's a great lyric.
I
Love is
know.
chaos, man.
I know, exactly.
Love is chaos and you can't control it.
Nope.
So that's true. I
It
agree.
is. It's very true.
I agree.
How about you? What's
Well,
your emo lyric of the day?
I think you stepped it up today. So,
Oh my God. Look at me go.
but you're the judge as always. So, because of my What's Making Me Emo is brand new, potentially coming back and releasing new music. I've been listening over the last few days to some brand new stuff. And overall, there's so many great lyrics. I will just say, like, I was having a hard time choosing one song and then one lyric to go with. But I chose a brand new song, The Boy Who Blocked His Own Shot. And I chose, again, it's hard to decide, but I think I just chose the chorus. Because I could read the whole thing and it would be great. But the chorus, I think, is great. And the chorus is, call me a safe bet. I'm betting I'm not. I'm glad that you can forgive. Only hoping as time goes, you can forget.
Ooh, I do like that.
That's good.
Can you read it one more time?
This is one of the, sometimes I have a hard time reading it without singing it. And this is one of those that I'm having a hard time reading it without singing it. But I'll go again. Call me a safe bet. I'm betting I'm not. I'm glad that you can forgive. Only hoping as time goes, you can forget.
Wow. Ooh, that is good.
So it's kind of like, to me, it's like I effed up and you thought I was safe and I'm not. And I effed up and hopefully you can forgive and forget about it.
Yeah. I think that's like it's the human condition right there. Like I think both of these are very much human condition things. Like we're imperfect, we mess up. Also, love is messy.
And you can't control it.
Can't control it. Is it possible for us to have a tie? Because I feel like we both have really solid lyrics of the day.
I mean, you are the judge. So
I think we tied. I think they both were equally so good that I can't call one out over another. I'm not going to do this very often, but I believe that this is a tie. And I believe it's a tie because it's both really beautiful and tragic human conditions that we're talking about right here. And I love that.
Okay. Well, I guess they're both going to get highlighted on our Instagram. And I think that that's great. Speaking of our Instagram, follow us at the Emo Hour on Instagram and TikTok, where we do post our emo lyrics of the day every week. And we also have a playlist on Spotify with every song that we've referenced in Emo Lyric of the Day. And we'll be doing more and more TikTok content as it comes up. Maybe Nani will dress up like a goth in Mexico and take some beach content dressed as a goth.
Oh my God. Do you want me to do that? I will.
I would love that so much. I think that goths in places that you don't expect goths is like one of the funniest things.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
I think that'd be really funny.
Oh my God, I could totally do that. And we normally don't say this on the show, but it's not a bad idea for us too. If you like what you heard, please rate us. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps us get seen and heard. And obviously share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, yeah. Well, anything else that we want to talk about, Katie?
No, thanks for listening, and catch us next week. And we'll do some updates on Nani's travels. And then once we're back in person, we have some exciting things in the works, and my life will be more calmer by then, I think. So just stay tuned.
All right. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.